Everyone tells you that growing your own herbs is hard. You need a garden, you need good soil, you need to water them every day, and you definitely need some kind of green thumb that you're either born with or you're not. But nobody ever mentions that 5 of the most useful cooking herbs on the planet are basically impossible to kill. They thrive on neglect. Some of them actually grow better the less you fuss over them. And if you plant these 5 specific herbs once this spring, you'll have more fresh herbs than you know what to do with for years. Not weeks, not months, years, without spending another dime. But there's one critical mistake that kills almost every beginner's herb garden within the first 3 weeks, and I'm going to make sure you don't make it. Before we get into the 5 herbs, you need to understand something about those little plastic clamshell packages of fresh herbs at the grocery store. They're not designed to last. They're designed to die. That basil you bought last Tuesday that turned into black sludge by Friday, that's not your fault. Those herbs were grown in industrial greenhouses under artificial light, pumped full of fertilizer to grow as fast as possible, then cut and sealed in plastic with no way to breathe. Their roots were never meant to sustain them. They were meant to look pretty on a shelf for about 4 days, long enough for you to buy them, use 3 leaves, and throw the rest away. The fresh herb aisle at your local supermarket is one of the highest markup sections in the entire store. A tiny bunch of rosemary costs $3 to $4. That same amount of rosemary grows on a single branch of a bush you could plant for $6 and harvest from for the next 20 years. The math is almost insulting once you see it, and if you've ever tried to save a grocery store herb by transplanting it into a pot on your windowsill, you probably watched it die slowly over 2 weeks and assumed you were bad at gardening. You're not. That plant was already doomed. It had no root system, no hardiness, and no chance. The herbs I'm about to show you are a completely different animal. Number 1. Rosemary. If you only plant one herb from this entire list, make it this one. Rosemary is a Mediterranean native, which means it evolved in rocky, sun-baked, dry hillsides where it barely rains for months at a time. It doesn't want your attention, it doesn't want your fancy potting soil. It wants full sun, soil that drains fast, and for you to leave it alone. A single rosemary plant costs about $4 to $6 at your local garden center in spring. Within 2 years, that plant will grow into a thick, woody, fragrant bush that's 2 to 3 feet tall. Within 5 years, some varieties can reach 4 or 5 feet. There are rosemary bushes along the coastlines of Italy and Greece that are older than most of the buildings around them, and it smells incredible. On a warm day, you can catch the scent of a mature rosemary bush from 10 feet away. Brush your hand against it as you walk past, and the fragrance sticks to your skin for an hour. It's one of those plants that makes your whole garden feel like you know what you're doing, even if rosemary is the only thing in it. You'll never run out. Every time you need rosemary for roasted potatoes, for chicken, for bread, for a cocktail garnish, you just walk outside and snip a sprig. It grows back within days. One bush produces more rosemary than most families could use in a year. But here's where people mess up, and this connects to the big mistake I mentioned at the top. Rosemary hates wet roots. If you plant it in heavy clay soil that holds water, or if you water it like you water your tomatoes, it will rot from the inside out. The leaves will start turning brown. The stems will go soft, and you'll think you killed it by underwatering when you actually drowned it. We'll come back to this because it's the single biggest reason beginner herb gardens fail. Number 2, mint. If rosemary is the herb you have to convince to grow, mint is the herb you have to beg to stop. Mint is, without exaggeration, one of the most aggressive plants you will ever encounter in a home garden. Plant it in the ground, and within one growing season, it will send runners in every direction, popping up in your flower beds, in the cracks of your walkway, and in your neighbor's yard. This is actually great news for you because it means mint is essentially unkillable. It grows in full sun, partial shade, even mostly shade. It tolerates wet soil, dry soil, poor soil, rich soil. It survives freezing winters by dying back to the roots and exploding back to life in spring. You could basically throw a mint plant at the ground and it would figure out how to survive. The one piece of advice that every experienced gardener will give you about mint is to plant it in a container. A large pot, a raised bed with barriers, a 5-gallon bucket with holes in the bottom. Anything that keeps those runners contained. Because if you don't, you will spend the rest of your gardening life pulling mint out of places you never planted it. There are dozens of mint varieties, and they're all ridiculously easy to grow. Spearmint is the classic, perfect for teas, mojitos, salads, and Middle Eastern dishes. Peppermint has that stronger, almost medicinal kick that's great for desserts and hot chocolate. And if you want something fun, chocolate mint actually smells like a thin mint cookie and grows just as aggressively as the others. A single mint plant costs $2 to $4. Within one season, you'll have more mint than you could possibly use. Within 2 seasons, you'll be giving it away to everyone you know. Number 3, chives. Chives are the quiet overachiever of the herb garden. They don't get the attention that basil or rosemary get, but they might be the single most useful herb you can grow for one simple reason. They're the first thing that comes up in spring. While everything else in your garden is still dormant, those little green spikes will push through the cold soil in early March or even late February, depending on where you live. By the time most people are just starting to think about planting their gardens, you're already harvesting fresh chives for your scrambled eggs, your baked potatoes, your cream cheese, your soups. And here's what makes chives almost magical from a gardening perspective. They're a cut-and-come-again plant, which means every time you snip them down to about 2 inches above the soil, they grow right back. You can harvest the same clump of chives dozens of times throughout a single growing season, and they keep coming back year after year, getting thicker and more productive each time. In late spring, chives produce these gorgeous purple pom-pom flowers that most people don't realize are completely edible. They taste like a mild onion and look incredible, scattered over a salad or used as a garnish on a bowl of soup. Your herb garden just became an ornamental garden too. Some people grow chives purely for the flowers because they're that attractive. Here's a quick tip that most gardening channels skip. When the flowers start to fade, snip them off before they go to seed. This tells the plant to put its energy back into growing new leaves instead of making seeds. You get more harvests, thicker growth, and a tidier looking plant. But if you do let a few go to seed, those seeds will scatter and you'll find new baby chive plants popping up around your garden the following spring, which is honestly a nice surprise. Chives also multiply on their own. That single clump you planted will divide and spread over time, giving you more plants without any effort. After a few years, you'll have enough to divide and share with friends. A single chive plant costs about $3, and it will literally pay for itself within the first month of harvesting. Number 4, thyme. If chives are the quiet overachiever, thyme is the silent workhorse. It's one of those herbs that you don't think about much until you realize it's in basically everything you cook. Roasted vegetables, soups, stews, marinades, pasta sauces, pan-seared steaks. Thyme shows up everywhere, and as a garden plant, it's nearly bulletproof. Thyme is another Mediterranean native, which means it shares rosemary's love of sun and well-drained soil and its hatred of being overwatered. But thyme has a trick that rosemary doesn't. The creeping varieties like creeping thyme or woolly thyme spread horizontally across the ground like a fragrant carpet. You can plant them between stepping stones, along the edges of garden beds or in rock gardens, and they'll slowly fill in every gap. Thyme survives harsh winters. It handles summer heat without blinking. It barely needs any soil at all. Some of the best thyme I've ever seen was growing out of a crack in a stone wall with virtually no dirt around it. In ancient Rome, soldiers used to bathe in thyme water before battle because they believed it gave them courage. Whether or not that's true, the fact that wild thyme has been thriving across Europe for thousands of years without anyone watering it should tell you everything you need to know about how easy it is to grow. The upright varieties, like common thyme and lemon thyme, grow into small bushy mounds about 8 to 12 inches tall. Lemon thyme in particular is worth mentioning because it has this bright citrusy flavor that's completely different from regular thyme and works beautifully with fish, chicken, and fresh salads. If you can only pick one variety, go with common thyme. It's the most versatile in the kitchen and the most cold hardy in the garden. But if you have room for two, add lemon thyme and you'll cover almost every cooking situation you'll ever encounter. A thyme plant costs $2 to $5 depending on the variety. It comes back every spring, gets thicker and more productive each year, and requires almost nothing from you. You just plant it, harvest from it, and forget about it until you need it again. Now, about halfway through this list, if you're finding this useful, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I cover practical gardening, self-sufficiency, and ways to save money by growing your own food every single week. All right. Let's get to number 5. Number 5, oregano. This is the one that surprises people the most. Everyone knows oregano. It's on every pizza, in every tomato sauce, in almost every Italian and Greek dish you've ever eaten. But most people only know it as that little jar of dried flakes from the spice aisle, and they have no idea how easy it is to grow. Oregano is a perennial, which means you plant it once and it comes back every single year. And it doesn't just come back, it comes back stronger and more productive each time. By year 2 or 3, a single oregano plant will have spread into a dense, fragrant mat of leaves that produces far more than one family could use in a season. Here's the part that blows people away. Fresh oregano from your garden, once you dry it yourself, is wildly more aromatic and flavorful than anything you've ever bought in a store. The store-bought dried oregano has usually been sitting on a shelf for months or even years, losing potency the entire time. When you dry your own, the flavor difference is so dramatic that it will genuinely change how your food tastes. There's one thing to know about oregano varieties, and it matters more than most gardening resources tell you. Greek oregano is the variety you want for cooking. It has that sharp, peppery, classic pizza flavor. Italian oregano is milder and sweeter, which is fine for some dishes but doesn't pack the same punch. If you're buying a plant at the garden center, look specifically for Greek oregano. Rub a leaf between your fingers before you buy it. If it smells intensely aromatic, that's the right one. If it smells like grass, keep looking. Oregano costs about $3 to $5 per plant. Give it full sun and decent drainage, and it will reward you with more dried oregano than you could use in 5 years of cooking. Now, the big mistake, the one I mentioned at the very beginning, overwatering. That's it. That's the thing that kills more beginner herb gardens than bad soil, bad weather, pests, disease, or anything else combined. And it makes sense when you think about it. 4 of the 5 herbs on this list, rosemary, thyme, oregano, and even chives to a lesser extent, are adapted to conditions where water is scarce. They evolved on sun-baked hillsides and rocky meadows where it might not rain for weeks. Their root systems are built to seek out moisture deep in the soil, not to sit in puddles. When a well-meaning beginner plants these herbs and then waters them every day, because that's what you do with plants, the roots never dry out. They start to rot. The plant slowly suffocates from the bottom up. The leaves turn yellow, then brown, then the whole thing collapses and the gardener assumes they just don't have a green thumb. Here's what overwatering actually looks like so you can catch it early. The bottom leaves start to yellow and drop off while the top of the plant still looks green. The stems feel soft and mushy instead of firm. The soil smells sour or swampy, and if you pull the plant out of the pot, the roots are brown and slimy instead of white and firm. If you see any of those signs, stop watering immediately and let the soil dry out completely before you water again. Most herbs can bounce back from mild overwatering if you catch it in time. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Stick your finger into the soil about 2 inches deep. If it's dry, water. If it's even slightly damp, leave it alone. That's the entire strategy. For rosemary, thyme, and oregano especially, erring on the side of too dry is always better than too wet. Mint is the exception. Mint actually likes more moisture than the others, which is one more reason to plant it separately in its own container. But even mint can handle some neglect. It's just not as drought tolerant as the Mediterranean herbs. All right, let's talk about actually getting these in the ground this weekend, because all of this information is useless if you don't act on it. You have 2 options, containers or in-ground planting. Both work great and both have advantages. Containers are perfect if you have limited space, if you're renting, or if your soil is heavy clay that holds too much water. Get 5 pots that are at least 10 to 12 inches across, use a well-draining potting mix, and you're done. The key is drainage holes. Every pot needs them. If your pot doesn't have holes in the bottom, drill some. Herbs sitting in waterlogged soil is death sentence number 1. And we already covered why. If you're planting in the ground, pick the sunniest spot you've got. At least 6 hours of direct sun per day for rosemary, thyme, oregano, and chives. Mint can handle less sun, but remember, you want it in a container anyway to keep it from conquering your entire yard. For soil, you don't need anything fancy. A standard potting mix works great for containers. For in-ground planting, if your soil is heavy clay, mix in some coarse sand or perlite to improve drainage. If your soil is already sandy or loamy, you're golden. Don't bother with expensive organic herb-specific soil mixes. These plants grew wild on rocky hillsides for millennia. They don't need premium real estate. Here's your planting checklist. Dig a hole about the same depth as the pot the plant came in, but twice as wide. Gently loosen the root ball with your fingers before placing it in the hole. Backfill with soil, press it down firmly, and water once to settle everything in. That initial watering is important because it eliminates air pockets around the roots. After that, resist the urge to water again for at least 3 or 4 days. Let those roots start reaching out into the surrounding soil on their own. Spacing is simple. Give rosemary and oregano about 18 inches of room to spread. Thyme needs about 12 inches. Chives can be planted about 6 inches apart. Mint gets its own container, so spacing doesn't matter. Total cost for all 5 plants? Somewhere between $12 and $25 depending on where you buy them and what size you start with. That's less than the cost of 6 trips to the fresh herbs section at your grocery store, and these plants will produce for years.